What's up, everybody? So we're going to be live on Instagram and on YouTube. Keith Canagard waiting on Dane as usual. Come on, I thought it would be, what is it? It's only 9:01. That's not that late, right? So we've been doing, this is a second week of the t-shirt giveaway. So if you're at our YouTube channel, on the main channel, and you watch our main channel videos and you comment in the comment section, and after you comment in the comment section, and you have all of you subscribe, you ring the notification bell, you've got everything set so that every notification for Garage Strength is active. You comment, I want the swole shirt. I want to be a swolger. I want to be a freak swolger. I want that medium so I can look nice and jacked. So this is the white shirt here. So we're giving that away for free. And then we do have a black one with white print. We got a sand one. We've also got a lift shirt that we're going to be giving away in a couple future videos. And we've got a whole bunch of other freaking sick graphics that we are going to turn into some t-shirts and some merch to give away. So if you watch those full videos and you comment, that makes you active. And then you got to show up to the YouTube live. So this week's t-shirt giveaway winner. T-shirt giveaway winner is going to be at Drip 369. He's getting some drip. He or she is getting some drip at Drip 369. So what you've got to do is email us at support@garagestrength.com that you won the giveaway. Put that in the subject, I won the t-shirt giveaway, and then provide a screenshot of your YouTube studio. So you just take that screenshot. You can black out the financial stuff. Just we have to confirm that that's you. So Drip 369, you can take that screenshot, and then that way we know that that's you, and you can verify that you were the winner. We can verify that you were the winner, and then we can send that shirt your way depending upon your size, wherever you're at. So let us know, Drip 369. Hopefully he shows up or she shows up in the comments, because we've seen Drip 369 on the comments section pretty regularly, actually, in the YouTube chat. So again, that's the way to win it. So on all of our long form videos, we're going to have that. If you comment, you enter, you show up to the YouTube live Tuesday, 9 a.m. live. And then maybe this is the first time we've gone on Instagram live. Maybe at some point we're going to get more consistent with that. Hopefully each week we do get more consistent with that. And snow in your side of Pennsylvania. Wow. It is chilly today. Actually, it was like 45 degrees, 50 degrees outside. I went for a run this morning and my hands were a little bit cold. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into, we got 4 really good questions. So this is the other thing that we're going to be doing on these public lives is, and we did this last week and it worked out freaking awesome. I loved it. We are going to, I'm trying to see, I don't like my laptop's sort of in the way there. I got 2 screens too. I got a screen on each side. Ooh, Lorenz Billups. Boom. I'll give you that fist bump. I want to attend the coaching summit, but I'll be coaching at the Indiana State track meet. And if things go according to plan. Well, thank you for that $10 super chat, Lorenz Billups, and good luck coaching. Make sure your athletes peak like absolute monsters, and you're going to be winning a state title, hopefully, or they're going to be winning state titles in at the Indiana State meet. That's freaking awesome. Kevin, what's up? Kevin is one of our channel members. So what we did last week is we went over 4 comments from YouTube that we really liked. Okay, so we looked at it. All right, these are some really sick questions that we got on the videos. And these were pretty much all of like the last 3 or 4 videos that we put out. These are some really good comments. Let's answer these comments and then let's get into the live chat. So that's another big factor that we're going to be doing is that we got the t-shirt giveaway. Outside of the t-shirt giveaway, we're also going to be doing the actual comments on the YouTube videos so that you guys can just, stay in on everything. And so the first question is from Ollie Shaw, 8930. Ollie Shaw, 8930. He or she sucks at unbroken squats. Keith, you don't have abs yet because you're not eating well. Keith Canagard just said it. I've been on the peak strength program for 1.5 months now. Why don't I have abs yet? Because you're not eating well. So going back to Ollie Shaw. Ollie was saying he sucks at unbroken squats. Was really interested to hear about the plyometric training result in Blast Impulse. Unfortunately, the gym I train doesn't have stairs. I could perform the stair jumps, so you can't do stair jumps. What other exercises would you recommend? Also, how often should you train plyometrics, and what are the reps and set schemes like? reps and set schemes like? You mentioned plyometric series. Is this a program? So that's from Oliver. So Oliver, one of the things, if you aren't good at unbroken squats, I would say that's sort of like a telltale sign that you need to be doing a bit more with your plyometric work. Also, I would recommend, like, you've got that heavy power day, leg power day is going to be day 1. I would do athlete day on day 3, and then I would do an impulse day after athlete day, because typically if you do that athlete day, you're going to feel nice and refreshed. Then when you get into day 4, that's going to be impulse day. You can start to really feel that transfer into the weights that you're moving. Into the question about stair jumps. If you guys don't have access to stair jumps, I just got confused because Russell Bowman just commented and said 10 by 10 Zercher squat stair jumps on the daily. Russell, you're a troll. Go hit the. Remember, Russell last night power cleaned 170 for a double, and then he was too scared to actually try the jerk. So getting back to the question of if you can't do stair jumps, okay, if you can't do stair jumps, there's a couple different things that you can do. One, I would recommend you could do just tuck jumps in place, right? Jump, tuck your knees to your chest, land, jump, land, jump, land, right in place, but tuck the knees and think about touch, go, touch, go, touch, go. Okay, tuck jumps are great. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced in tuck jumps, try double leg bounds. Okay, double leg bounds are another one. If you're a little leery around tuck jumps or around bounds, just do, just try simple, like anything simple, like a box jump, easy box jump. So like hit, jump, hit, jump, hit, jump. Those are pretty easy things that you can do. And I think that those are all great replacements there. I just looked at on the screen. I didn't notice that this was actually on the screen. How did I not see this? Zercher squat, an overhead squat, a barbarian squat, a Cossack squat, a shrimp squat, a pistol squat, a sissy squat. I'm sure there's a lot more. Oh, yeah, that's the comment from Drip369. Drip369 won the T-shirt. Okay, so let's get into the next question. This is from Ben Hughes. Ben Hughes 4032. I've seen a ton of your videos. I really enjoy watching them. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that watch time, but I'm still not sure on a rep scheme for strength that I can do every workout on my compound lifts without a long program. With a lot of sports, I wouldn't really be able to be consistent with a long program. I was thinking maybe a 5x3 and one back offset. So I'm assuming here that what Ben is asking is, he trains a lot of in season. He plays multiple different sports. Let's say he lifts twice a week, but then he might miss a week or two. I would say, actually, if you're not getting into the gym as much, I would recommend a little bit higher volume than 5 triples. 5 triples is fine with a back offset. That's perfectly fine. But what you could do is, if you're only training twice a week, you could go, all right, one day, let's say I want to do 6 sets of 6, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7. Those are like some of my favorite rep schemes. Easy, and there's a lot of volume. And you can go in and you can get that work done and get out within like 40 minutes. Okay, so that's one thing that you could do. Another thing you could do is, let's say you do another great rep scheme would be like 4 triples, 2 sets of 7, 2 drop sets of 7. You could go like a little bit more of like a pyramid, like 5-3, 2-2, and then you could do 2 drop sets of 9. That's another great one. So you could use like those 3 and just sort of cycle through, and maybe one day you do power cleans and back squats. Now on the power cleans, let's just say you do 6 doubles. Back squats, you do that rep scheme that I gave you. On the upper body day or the full body day, let's say you do PA press or push presses, and then you do like bench and pull-ups, and then you're done. Okay, so that's stuff that you can do for in-season training. Keep that workout short, but you're still hitting those big-time lifts. Yeah, please don't call me Dave. Hey, Dave, how would you organize a typical upper body day for... It's okay, Richard. My pet peeves, just so everybody's aware and you guys control me in the comments for eternity on our channel, is Dave and Dan. I'll go to like Starbucks. I'm like, Dane, Dane. Dave, your coffee's ready. Does a bench press scheme you provide at the end work for squatting as well, and upper back or bicep compounds? Oh, Charles Zhang. I saw you guys came to Marquette. Thanks for that super chat. Boom. Started working here last year around July. Would love to meet you guys if you guys come out again. We're going to come out again 100%, Charles. Actually, I've been talking with Dr. Kip, Christoph Kip, actually more about some of the throwing stuff lately. So, yeah, we will be out there. We're probably going to come back out there with the throwers, and we're going to come back out there with the weightlifters. So I will be back out there. I'll try to keep like the lives. If I'm heading that way, I'll keep you updated as much as I can. SCal7122 was asking is if the bench press scheme you provided at the end work for squatting as well, and upper back or bicep compound exercises. I don't remember the bench press scheme that I provided at that specific workout or in that specific video. I don't even know what video this is from. So if Jason, if you could comment, let me know. SCal7122. The only thing I would say about bench press rep schemes in comparison to back squat is that back squat rep schemes are absolutely okay. Here's where we'll go. Bench press rep schemes will transfer very, very well to back squat rep schemes. Okay, really well. But there's one issue. Sometimes in hypertrophy phases, so if I'm inside of like exposure phase or comprehension phase, and I'm starting to hit like big time movements, and I want big time volume on the bench, I might do a drop set of 12. I might do a drop set of 17. I might do 2 drop sets of 17 on the bench because I just want to get blown up, like big time blown up. My hesitancy is I typically would not do that with the squat unless we're looking at like just straight fitness. Okay, if we're looking at like just straight fitness, let's see if I can put this on nice. What if I put this here? Can you guys see that? I don't think you can, but maybe I'll go like that. Now you can see it. If we're looking at just straight fitness, I might do drop sets of 12. I might do drop sets of 17, but I typically don't like doing that for back squat, especially with athletes, because you just get absolutely shredded, like destroyed. You're sore for a week. So that would be my only thing, is that most of my drop sets are going to be quite a bit more intense. Retro Loot just commented, I just saw this. It's the simplest method to build strength video. Okay. That was from like just put weight on the bar. Just put freaking weight on the bar is great. Literally, 5 triples. That's a great way for squat. That is a good rep scheme. I've been following your journey. Before we get into the last question, Retro Loot just said he's been following the journey since the Kefir video. I don't know if I buy it because that's from 2009. That's a long time. That might even be 2008. And it's inspiring to see how far you've come. You guys should go back and look at those videos. I've got videos on kefir, kombucha, raw milk from like 2008, 2009, even videos when I was training for the arena football, like way back. Some of them are bad. I've got old, when you can see how fat I used to be too. So Retro is saying, building a successful business can be challenging and setbacks and failures are inevitable. Looking back at the early days of your business, have you ever faced any significant challenges or setbacks that made it hard to stay focused on your goals? Yeah. I love German volume training, by the way. Kevin's saying DJ's TV show ready. Yeah. I think early on, the biggest setbacks were, one, when I got Lyme disease in 2013 and into 2014, that was a big time setback. Like that was hard because I didn't have anybody working for me yet. Or I think we might have had like a part-time person. That was a big challenge, managing my health and figuring out what was going on and dealing with the business. I also think at that time, all I was worried about was coaching. So like I wasn't overly focused on business practices at all. I was just focused on training people. And looking back, I think that was probably the best thing for me long term, but I sort of wish I had a little bit more of an interest in business at the time. I wasted a lot of time back then not paying attention to business practices. And I spent a lot of time on Craigslist buying stupid stuff. So I would recommend against that. Now, let's get into that last question from Gregory Lum, 2250. 2250 is a bomb in throwing. It's funny because when I see these handles, I often am like, I see the numbers, and I often think about what those throws would be if they were in metric. What's your recommendation on when to implement a belt? So interestingly enough, guys, if you follow this channel, we have a garage strength weightlifting channel that we launched about 2 to 3 months ago, probably 3 months ago, maybe even more. And that's entirely devoted to weightlifting. And we actually just put out a whole video on when to use a belt. So if you want to check that out, go to Garage Strength Weightlifting, and we actually talk about it. But I'm still going to answer your question here, Gregory Lum 2250. Historically, I've trained primarily beltless. Great, that's good. He only throws it on around 90 to 95%, 1 RPM. But after 3 years of hiatus, he's found that I have some significant lower back pain, core strength gaps that fatigue first if I go beltless, even when 70% plus. It's such a limiting factor that I feel I'm losing out on squat strength gains until my core can catch back up. But I also don't want to become overly reliant. I do also have a history of lower back problems. So my sort of advice here, this is for Gregory specific to using belts, is one, Russell, of course, I knew you were going to comment. Beltless gang represent. Russell loves training. Well, Russell cleaned like 205 without a belt. I think I forget what he front squatted without a belt. Keith just asked a great question. How to find time to train with a full-time job, 2 kids, without ruining your marriage? Look at training in 20 to 40-minute bites. Be like, hey, can I take a kid with me to the park? I want to go train. Can I take a kid with me to the gym? I want to go train. Or give me 45 minutes and you just get that stuff done really quickly. You skip those rest periods on peak strength, and that might help. Now, going back to this question about the belt, what I think about with belts, okay, if you want to push your strength, have a full day. Let's say you're training legs twice a week. Have a full day devoted to lifting heavy. So like that leg power day, day 1, you push heavy, okay? We're going to go heavy. We're going to wear the belt when we go over 70%. Then you pick another day, so like the impulse day, day 4, where you say, I'm not wearing a belt at all. So if I'm cleaning, if I'm snatching, if I'm front squatting, if I'm single leg squatting, if I'm back squatting, no belt the whole time. So that's going to force you to keep that intensity a little bit lower. I think that's a really quick start to having a beltless day and then wearing a belt. I also think, if you're in weightlifting or something like that, I think there's a really good reason to push your squats without a belt and just keep it, gradual, really, really gradual. And I also think front squatting without a belt for 6 months, like say, I'm going to front squat for 6 months, twice a week, and I'm not squatting with a belt on when I do it. If you're committed and you can put in that investment, that can really, really help you. But really, it's going to come back to feeling and making sure that you're doing the right trunk work. That's where a lot of dynamic trunk control work can come. You got to learn how to rotate as well and brace through your gut. That's going to play a big role. Actually, so Joseph Jones is commenting, glad I found this channel by chance algorithm. How does Lyme disease cause the elbow not to fully extend? So I've gotten bad arthritis. And I think this is from, I'm going to try and show it here. I think this is from throwing, and I had like partially torn my bicep here throwing a light shot. And over time, Lyme can like cause quite a bit of inflammation and damage and lead to arthritis in joints if it's infecting joints. And that's sort of where that comes into play. Okay, so we went through those 4 questions. Don't forget, if you comment on the YouTube live, or if you comment on the YouTube videos that we're posting, and if we even got good comments on Instagram, we're going to answer 3 to 4 of those questions in our YouTube live, which is going to happen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also, if you want to win a sweet shirt, you have to comment, you have to have all your notifications on, and you have to show up to that live at 9 a.m. and you can get the free shirt. Okay, so now also, if you guys want to be channel members, we have a private live every Friday where it's just me, and we've only got about 15 to 20 people in a private live. You can sign up for $10 on the channel membership, and it's me basically talking and answering any specific questions that you have. And I did want to throw in, I got this sweet Pink Floyd shirt. My favorite song from Pink Floyd is Fearless, and it's a really chill, almost depressed song. So you guys should check that out today when you just want to zone out and go off, and maybe you can do some meditation. You should listen to Fearless. It's a great song. So now I'm getting into the chat. Let's freaking roll. Best workout for a kickboxer. Kickboxers have to be extremely mobile and extremely explosive, and that's where I would focus a lot of my work on. One, tremendous leg strength, okay? Tremendous leg explosiveness, power cleans, power snatches, in single leg squats, step-ups, barbell step-ups, jump lunges, and even doing a lot of explosive work for, if you're in the clinch, you got to think about explosive pull-ups. That's going to be very similar. Even explosive pull-ups on a ball like this or on like a towel, as explosive as possible, and even doing hanging leg work, Thinking about contracting the abs with the hips at the same time. That's some big time work to help with kickboxers. How do you prevent rotator cuff injuries? My favorite prevention of rotator cuff injuries is going to be dumbbell seated external rotations. You can hit that for 4 sets of 7 on each side with a slow eccentric if you've got any pain through certain positions. So if I'm doing it like this and I just get a little bit of a pain here in the front, go really, really, really slow. And I'm talking like 7 to 10 second eccentrics with lightweight, and that's going to help get rid of that. But you got to do it consistently 2 to 3 days a week for probably 5 to 6 months. Hypermobility versus behind the neck jerk. Pros and cons of implementing these for baseballers. I love behind the neck jerks for baseball players, but you start light. You start with like the barbell or 50 kilos and teach them that when it gets too far back, what they can do if they need to drop that bar. But I absolutely think it's a fantastic movement, and I would even have them do it from a split or into the split with a pause. It's going to create more stability in their abs, in their trunk when they're in that overhead position. Think about this. There's a video, I want to say it was the right fielder for the A's. Threw out a dude from deep right field on the dime at third base. He caught the ball as he's running, picks a dude off, like throws it, launches it to third base. Guy was tagging up. And I see his trunk position and how he's rotating here and then coming forward, and it's very, very similar to that position that you're going to be in the behind the neck jerk position. So it's a great way to train. It's a great exercise to help improve their power output, that dynamic trunk control. But we also need to make sure that we're doing some shoulder work specific for them, and even like miracle grows for baseball players, tele-extensions, overhead med ball slams. Those are all great exercises as well. Best exercises for stiff arm for a shorter guy with shorter arms, because I need to move away from defenders in soccer. Okay, I was going to say for football, that's going to be tough. In soccer, the big thing with soccer is, one, just being stable enough that when you're running, that you can actually dribble and do these things, at a very high pace. But as far as stiff arms, for a shorter guy, I would say focus more on jumping and jumping in different positions with that stability in a different area. But also just look at like, okay, if I can train that stuff and I'm doing strategic technical work with the ball, okay, in specific to soccer, I'm out on the field quite a bit. I'm doing that work. The next thing that you can actually do is do explosive push-ups. Depth drop push-ups, depth drop push-ups to benches, depth drop push-ups to boxes. You can do medicine ball pushes with like shot put throws with a medicine ball into a wall. You can do push-ups, one-arm push-ups on a PVC pipe. Those are great ways to improve that stability in your upper body, and those are all things that you can do. You can even do like a glute ham, holding a glute ham position, and you have a med ball and you do a med ball slam here, like a med ball shot put there. So that's another way to train that. So it's really going to be trying to really focus on that is one way that I would say to help improve that stiff arm. Let's see. Are you seeing a lot of chatter about Mikolos Alekna going 71 meters? Seems like it's slipping. No, Rack, I've seen a lot of work. I mean, 71 meters for the discus, that's a huge bomb. That's a collegiate record. Absolute animal. Fantastic throw. I think the dude's probably going to break the world record. I think he can do it. I think especially if he gets really good conditions, it's over. He's 21. I think he's going to be 21 shortly, so it's sort of wild how good he's going to be. And look at how long his dad threw. So he's probably got some durability in there as well. I can triceps dumbbell tape press 70 pounds each hand for 5 reps. Is it strong? Medi, I would assume that's pretty strong. 70 pounds each hand for 5 reps is strong. And I believe the tape press is like this. So I'd be here. I believe I'm here, and I sort of go like this. I believe that's what the tape press looks like, I believe. How would you train an athlete on game week? Great question. So how are we going to do in-season training? First of all, I would recommend you can pick up our Coaches Summit. And if you guys are interested, if you're coaches, come to the Garage Strength Coaches Summit this year in June. We'll provide a link in the description or in the chat. You can sign up for the Coaches Summit, and we're going to have crazy in-depth answers to how to train large group settings, how to train athletes to peak, how to train athletes during game week so that they can actually improve and hit those big marks or just compete really well. Now, if I'm talking about football, what I like to do, Damish, is if I have football and they're training, they got a big game list. Let's say they have a really strong opponent on a Friday coming up. The best thing that you could do is, say, train legs decent, maybe moderate, let's say like 65 to 75% on a Sunday, then lift upper body on a Monday, again, 65 to 75% of intensity. And then you would take Tuesday off. That's typically going to be your hardest day on the field. And then Wednesday, what you can do is a little bit of jumps, say 15 to 20 minutes of athlete day, 15 to 20 minutes, nothing crazy. And then Thursday, a lot of mobility work, the walkthroughs, things like that. But a lot of mobility work, and they should feel decent getting into that Friday comp. Antonio just said, what is a good pull-up power set for swimmers? I don't know what a power set is, but I would do for swimmers, my favorite would just be standard pull-ups, muscle-ups, high ring pull-ups, and rope climbs. And I would try and push the actual weight, so holding like a 50-pound kettlebell around a belt, having a 75-pound kettlebell around the belt, and pushing that weight pretty high. And that's where even rope climbs come into play. Is that you can do, let's say, really heavy pull-ups, so using the 50 or using the 70, like pushing that for a double or a triple. And then you can go over and you can hit 4 or 5 rope climbs in a row, and that's a great way to help transfer over to the swimming realm. Keith, do you have a special programming for short notice comps? Ooh, that's a great question. So he's asking, let's say somebody says, actually, I'll use this as an example. I've got a photo shoot that I got to prep for thumbnails and stuff like that, and we're doing it in 2 weeks. So basically, I'm trying to like really crush my nutrition and my cardio for the next 2 weeks, and my lifting, so I look pretty good for those thumbnails that hopefully you guys click on and watch. But if we're on short notice, like 6 to 8 weeks, I would err on the side, Keith, of actually getting a custom program, because that's going to be tough. That's going to be really hard. That's like NFL guys right now, we're getting close to like OTAs. And so guys are going to be signed with like future contracts and stuff like that, where they might be brought in and they're going to be paid like on a day-to-day basis, but they're not signing anything long-term. The draft just ended. So some of these guys, like, they might only have like a time frame of like 4 to 6 weeks to put on a show for the coaches. And this is similar to the case that you just brought up. And I would probably say a custom program is going to be the best, because there's a lot of specific details that you got to work out. How much time you're going to be spending in the ring? How much technical work are you going to be doing? How much time can you actually go into the gym? How much time can you do, LSD work? How are you going to recover? All those things. Are you working at all? All that stuff plays a very large role. Okay, so Mehdi is saying that in the tape press, bend your elbows to move the ends of the dumbbells towards your chest. Oh, that's right. It's like this. Like this. That's pretty good, Mehdi. That's impressive. 70s is impressive there. Fried Noodles just said, any tips to get back to training? I've been taking a break from training for several weeks now. I think the biggest thing is don't take a break for several weeks. Several weeks turns into months, turns into years. And that's not a lie. Like, dude, just for everybody out there, take 5-7 days. That's it. We don't need to take weeks off. If you're training 3 to 4 or 5 days a week, just take a week at a time, and you do that every 16 to 20 weeks. I've got people who will train for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and they'll say, I feel like I'm overtraining. Dude, you've been training for 8 weeks. You're not even close to overtraining. Like, now, if you're training for like 25 weeks straight and we've been working hard, like, all right, that's some reasonable stuff. But like, one of the hardest things is to just realize that like you're not even close to your physical limit, and you've got to hold yourself accountable to stay in the game. And if you want to be the person who hits these massive milestones, you can't stop training. But to go back to Fried Noodles, okay, so Fried Noodles, for me, or for him, it's his schoolwork. So what I would recommend there is, even when you've got like, we used to have to train during finals week for track. Okay, we had to do that. Even when we had finals, even when I had to go in and write a 3-hour essay in a composition book, we still had to train that day. And what we would do then is if we had a really hard final or we had a long preparation for a final, we would go in and we would do about an hour's worth of work. So maybe we would throw for 30 minutes, and then we could do something like, let's just say, 100 clap push-ups, 50 jump lunges, and you break that up into multiple different sets. So you try to do something simple that you can get done in that short time frame, but is still going to trigger some type of response. So that's going to make it a lot easier to get back. And I would just recommend too, is that, dude, school's hard. I get it. School's tough. But if you can actually balance and manage your schedule, you should be able to manage really, really high intense schoolwork. Unless you're going to med school and you got to be, you're doing stuff for 12 hours a day. That's a different factor. That's a whole nother beast. But if we're in college, dude, you got to learn time management. You got to optimize your time to the best of your ability. Because one thing as a business owner is that when someone comes in and they say oh, I'm so stressed. Oh, I got this I have to do. Oh, when you're putting off this aura that you can't manage stress, or you're overwhelmed, or you've got a lot of stuff on your plate, well, then you're just screaming I can't deal with it. I can't manage people. I can't manage myself. So the biggest thing that you need to do is to just improve your time management. And I would just tell you, get a freaking planner here. Get a planner and work on improving your overall time management. And that's going to optimize how you approach things. And fried noodles, I think over time you can pick that up and improve. And you're probably going to even get better scores on your tests and better scores in class as well. Because I think for me personally, I find when I do a really good job planning everything out that I actually realize how much time I waste. And I think that's a big factor. What do you tell a thrower who doesn't have a very knowledgeable coach who wants to reach the next level? You take a lot of throws. Just take a lot of throws. Find a technical model. Take a lot of throws. It's just like lifting. You got to look at who do you want to emulate in the circle. Take a ton of throws. Kai Van Curler. Kai, I forget if this was you, but I told Kai last week that's my sister's name and my nephew's name. How should a skilled position football player work on endurance while on peak strength? So one thing you can do while you're on peak strength is I would just say add in, and we will be adding this to the app to make it even crazier, which the app, if you guys are in peakstrength.app or if you're in peak strength, we've added some absolutely phenomenal additions here. Actually, what's interesting is that Christoph Kipp, somebody had just messaged me about Marquette. I'm going to show you guys this stuff inside of peak strength. So when you're doing things in peak strength, let's say you're doing training, you can go do hill sprints once a week. You can do sled sprints, 10 sets of 15 sled sprints with a 35 once a week, and then just get on an assault bike. Go in the sauna, assault bike or sauna. Assault bike is easy, 20 minutes, and that's good. What is the plan for Garage Strength? Do you want to turn it into a franchise? I don't know if we want to turn it into a franchise, but we've got a lot of big goals. We want to keep blowing up our channels, Peak Strength's a YouTube channel, Garage Strength Weightlifting. We've got our Garage Strength podcast. We want to keep growing those channels. We want to grow the on-site business. We're trying to build a new building. We're buying property closer to the city here, and we want to build a bigger building because we want to get into some crazy professional, high-level, high-performance sport development. We want to keep trying to educate coaches, doing the Coaches Summit once or twice a year, once online, once in person, and then just keep developing the app as well. So it's basically that we can have access to everyone, and develop our equipment product line. But I wanted to share with you guys, okay, so if we go here, yeah, there we go. Check out, I'm going to try, there we go. Trying to get it so you can't see. So this is the milestones today that I hit in my workout recap. Okay, I'm trying to get this in the screen so you can see here the tonnage badge there. And then when you get out of this, so this is like athlete day, you can get into, you can finish that. I'm trying to get through this because I did this morning. And we can even get into the bonus section. Bonus section here. So I'm back to my main screen, and you guys can see here, lower body strength, upper body power, upper body strength, athlete day, impulse day, and then hypertrophy day. And then down at the bottom, we've even got that bonus for mobility. And you can start that mobility, and you can even pick the area for where you're at. And if you go back to this, you can see even I'm in week 4 comprehension. I'm on like a marathon training. I've been doing a ton of work specific to long distance running, which has helped me quite a bit. So we got, and I think, we got like 35 or 37 programs in the app. So you can go to peakstrength.app, Google Play Store, Apple iOS Store, and you can download that and get anything you want. Can you combine, this is from Redhead, can you combine strength training, plyometrics, and muscle building in one workout session? Absolutely. I would start like this, okay? Let's go. You do a good warm-up. You do PVC pipe walks, okay? So you go PVC pipe walks, let's say some duck walks, and some banded overhead warm-up, okay? That's your warm-up. You get sweaty, 5 to 8 minutes, okay? Then you get into some easy plyometrics, pogo jumps, and single leg hops. Then you get into some hurdle hops, okay? 5 sets of 3 hurdle hops. Then you rest about 3 to 4 minutes before you get into some strength work. But now you can go into some back squat or some bench press even if you want to do upper body. And then at the end of that, after you do, let's say you do 6 sets of 6, because I mentioned that earlier as one of my favorite all-time rep schemes. You hit those six sets of 6, and then you get into what that muscle building would be, sort of like the traditional hypertrophy session where you pick 2 to 3 movements, you do a tricep with 3 to 4 high rep sets, and you really just blow up, get a nice blood flow. And that's a way that you can train plyometrics and strength and muscle building. That's some of the stuff that we even do inside of Peak Strength. There's going to be points in Peak Strength too, where you're in the comprehension phase or you're in the ascension phase, and we've got videos all on those phases specifically that sort of walks it through, and you can establish that peak date. Like, I want to peak at this time, and that's what makes it so unique, is that you can actually follow a program that it spits out for you based off of your equipment and based off of that peak date and based off of your needs, your own personal needs. Okay, so if you're a offensive lineman, you're going to train for these needs. If you're a marathoner, you're going to train this way. If you're a badminton player, you're going to train this way. If you're a swimmer, you're going to train this way. So that's what's going to be freaking cool. Is it's really, really legit. All right. Weight percentage and reps, 3 weeks away from comp, discus and shot put. So we're in a power sport. 3 weeks away, I would say that's the week that you should be going the heaviest. 3 weeks out, low volume, 7 singles power snatch, 3 doubles back squat, 1 set of 5 unbroken. That's what I would be doing. Try to push that weight that week, and then you got 2 weeks to taper off. How can you put on 25 pounds of muscle? 25 pounds of muscle over the summer, specifically for wrestlers. This is Gotcha Racing and Wrestling. Gotcha, I haven't answered one of your questions yet. I apologize for that. Or Andy Lee, I want to get to you as well. Gotcha Racing and Wrestling. 25 pounds of muscle is a bit heavy. I would say, Marty fam, we do have a couple people doing BMX racing, and I do have an understanding of that. 25 pounds is a bit much. You're going to have to train 5 to 6 days a week, and you're going to have to eat a lot of protein, a lot, and you're going to have to sleep a lot. I would say 15 to 20 pounds, depending upon the age, over 6 to 8 months is more realistic. 5 to 6 days of training, 2 big hypertrophy days, 2 big power days, and then that athlete day and maybe a buys and tries day for fun. Andy Lee, if you're training for athleticism, should every workout feel insanely hard? No. For example, on Olympic lifts, should you feel pretty fresh when doing the lifts, or should I feel like a max out squat? It depends on the phase that you're in. Okay, so we got to think about that. It depends on where we're at in our training period. Okay, if we're in the summit phase, you might be going a lot heavier. If we're in the exposure phase or the comprehension phase, that's going to be a different scenario. So in that position, I would make the argument that you got to work on your technique and you're doing high volume training. Okay, 15 years old, it's going to be possible, but over 6 to 8 months more so. So keep it more realistic there. So as far as athleticism, we've got to look at athleticism as being twitchy. Okay, you've got to be as explosive and as twitchy as possible, but we've also got to be really, really strong with and coordinated with a heavy load. So if I look at, athletic, like Sam Mattis or one discus thrower is probably like the easiest way to, yes, you can put on muscle at 44 years old, is one of the best ways to explain it. You've got to be strong, powerful, twitchy, be able to jump through the roof. So when you're doing jumps, you shouldn't feel like you're going to die. You've got to be able to recover 2 to 3 minutes so that you can improve your coordination in your rate coding. You can improve your coordination with that high threshold motor unit recruitment, and that's a lot of that's going to come back to even with technique with jumping, like the technique around co-contractions and improving your body's ability to handle co-contractions. You need recovery, so you shouldn't feel totally gassed when you're doing those things. My favorite weightlifting athlete would probably be Haley, right? She's still in the hunt for the Olympics, so I've got to make that Haley Reichert. Dude, she's an absolute monster. I have like others. I've shared other favorite weightlifters outside of GS. I've shared other favorite athletes outside of GS. Richard Stewart, how would you organize an upper body day for soccer? Thank you for the super chat. Boom. Upper body day for soccer. That's a really great question. And I would start off with like a push press or a power jerk, nice and light. Or even if they don't want to do anything overhead, a PA press where they're using their hips and they're pressing, or even something like explosive push-ups. Okay, so you can do clap push-ups to start. That would be a great way to start their workout. Maybe you superset that with band pull-aparts. I'm going to do a lot of pulling. Okay, so a lot of pull-ups, a lot of high ring pull-ups. And then that would be 2A, and we're going to superset that with, let's say, alternating dumbbell bench. Okay, alternating dumbbell bench, 5 sets of 7 on each arm. Then we're going to get into, let's say, miracle grows would be 3A. So a big tricep here, come back up. Okay, miracle grows 3A. And then let's get into 3B. Let's make 3B either dips or clap push-ups if they didn't do clap push-ups for that beginning. Throws University, happy birthday, the best video editor in the world. Today is Jason, our video editor for Garage Strength. It is Jason's birthday. So we got 2 video editors at Garage Strength, and one of them is Jason Kuhn, and it's his birthday. He turns 28 today, so wish him a happy birthday. And then we're going to finish that off. Let's say 4A, we do like something like ab roller, ab wheel, and you finish that off with something easy and fun where you just get a pump, homers, tricep push down, something easy. That's a good workout for upper body day for soccer. Andy Lee, you guys are the bomb. Peak Strength is the app I wish I had 15 years ago when I was in high school. Thank you, Andy. I think that's a big goal. So somebody had asked about what our goal is for the enterprise of Garage Strength, right? Hello, basketball. Hello, basketball. Hello, basketball. Please stop or we're going to get you out of the chat. And so looking at what Peak Strength's goal is that it's really the whole point of Peak Strength, and this is something that we sort of sought out with early on when we started to design it, was like, how can we get Dane in every high school kid's hands? How can we get him in the collegiate level hands? How can we get him in coaches' hands? And how can we make it easily accessible and just constantly update it based off of what I'm doing in training, what I'm learning here, how we're experimenting with our athletes, with our throwers, with our football players, with our wrestlers, and then make it affordable and accessible to people who don't live in this immediate area. Okay, so we have the YouTube channel, and you guys can learn from YouTube, but a lot of people kept asking about programming, and we had the PDFs for a while, PDF programs for quite a while, and we just wanted to make that next step. And I think that's a big thing with Peak Strength is it's getting high schoolers. A lot of people have weights and weights from COVID. A lot of people were lifting at home, and there's even a lot of body weight stuff in the app. Even if you wanted to go in and just select body weight training, you can do all workouts just off of body weight. So I think that was the main thing, is like increasing the accessibility so that you guys could get world-class training literally in the palm of your hand. That's what makes it so freaking cool. Dane, how much do you skull crusher with an easy curl bar when you was in your peak? Straight buck with you, Medi. I'm going to give you a straight buck. I have a video. If you guys go throw back, I want to say I did 2 45s on each side of the easy curl bar, and that would have been back in like 2009 or 2010 in the OG garage, my parents' garage. I want to say I've done since then maybe. So if we would let's just call that 225, maybe 245. I don't know. I haven't done that in a while. I could do Miracle Grows probably with like 125s for like 10 to 12 right now. I could try it. Hey, Ian Sarver, the shirt winner has been announced, and it's Drip 369. Drip 369. Aitor Gallego. Put your question back in there. I can't see. Vasu, what's up? Somebody just asked me if we know anything about BMX training, and I thought about you, Vasu. and your son training. A-Tor, where are you? Okay. The night before a big match. I'm the guy from last week whose question was out of time. You told me to ask it this time, so here it goes. What are the rituals and thoughts that your Olympic guys or any other athlete do the night before a big match? Jason just put in the Heavy Skull Crushers video from like 2009 or 10, whatever year that was. Little throwback. Okay, so the night before a big match, let's say, or the night before a big competition, and I could almost walk you through. You guys can see here, right? You can see these papers here. So this is actually what Sam did, okay, the day before he threw in the Olympics. So this will help A-Tor Gallego. Okay, so the night before we rolled out, he did the pigeon pose, he got worked on, he did some yoga himself, okay. We focused on what he could do with his hamstrings and his groin so that he could feel that position. And then we even established that night before he had to wake up at 4:45 in the morning because of when his competition was going to be. It was at like 8:15. So he woke up at 4:45 in the morning. He ate at 5:30 a.m., okay, and I met him in the Olympic in the dining commons at 5:30 in the morning, okay. So then he and I ate at 5:30, and I had alarms set on my phone. And I'll be honest with you, I still have all these alarms still set on my phone because it's just a freaking sweet reminder of what my goals are. You can see in here all of these times are actually like get the bus, leave from the diner, go throw outside the stadium, head to the call room, take your pre-workout. And so then we took. We arrived at the stadium at 7 in the morning. Okay, so we arrived at the stadium at 7 in the morning. We took 6 to 8 throws outside. Then we got the call at 8:40. So that's when you go and you head into the call room. And then he made sure we had chalk, shoes, discs, uniform gear, pre-workout. And he took his pre-workout at 9:17. We had 4 towels, and we made sure we even laid out his nutrition. So eggs, pancakes, fruit, and 2 cups of coffee. And then we wrote down our cues. So to answer A-Tor there, looking at that paperwork, which I haven't looked at that in quite a while, but that's such a cool memory, thinking back to throwing outside the Olympic Stadium. Not me, but coaching the throws, Alex and Sam outside the Olympic Stadium and just walking through that whole process. And even the ride to the stadium, it's like, I can remember like just driving through the streets of Tokyo, and you're like, you see the stadium, you're like, dude, we're going for the Olympics. And we were warming up, and it's like, Sam's like, dude, we're at the Olympics. We're throwing at the Olympics. This is absolutely incredible. We throw in the snow, and now we're throwing at the Olympics. And like that was stuff that you have to like control your emotions in that situation. And I think the night before, the big thing to do, going back to that for a big prep, is focus on what your cues are going to be. Focus on what you're going to do as well as you possibly can. If you're a fighter, like what happens if the guy, you want to be more offensive and the guy's defense is on point, then what adaptation can you make in the fight? What can you do? So you just have to have that in the back of your mind. What are you going to eat the night before? What clothing are you going to wear to bed? What clothing are you going to wear when you wake up? What are you going to do first thing when you wake up? Are you going to get outside? What are you going to eat? Are you going to listen to some mantras? You're going to write your mantra down. How are you going to visualize and prep? How much time are you going to spend around visualization? And then when you get to the stadium or your big event, you've got to sit there and say, okay, what am I doing that last hour? How am I going to separate from other people so I'm not distracted and I'm just entirely focused on myself and executing as well as possible? Because oftentimes other people can try to distract you, and oftentimes people don't even mean to do it, but they will, right? So you've got to have all that factored in. So A-Tor, I hope that helps. I know that wasn't like the perfect answer, but I think it just comes back to what your specific needs are as an individual and just preparing for any little hang up that you could have. And even making sure, like, how are you going to prep for bedtime? Because you're so wound up and your heart rate is so high. That's where meditating, and a lot of people don't give meditation like the break it needs, where it's like, do it for a year. But people, I tried it. They tried it for 3 weeks. I tried meditation. No, you didn't. If you try it for a year, then when you get into that situation where you're thrown at the Olympics, you can just go right into the zone and block people out. So that's a big factor. What should I do if I struggle with getting in my daily protein intake? As from Alexander, what I would do, if we're struggling with that, I would try to get your daily protein intake. I would just add in a protein supplement. I think that's the quickest and easiest way that you can actually increase your protein intake. And then the next thing I would do is probably eat fish. If you like fish, you could eat fish because it's really, really high in protein. That's the next thing that I would do. Rambler. Opinions on mini workouts 6 hours or before the main workout to build lagging muscles and or accelerated recovery. I don't dislike that. I think it's a pretty good idea. I think it just depends on your situation and if you're capable of doing that. I think it's going to be something that you've just got to be aware. You don't want to train too much in a specific area that could make you more fatigued for your main lift. So you got to look at like what's your main goal for the day and don't try and fatigue that too much. Jonathan, I like your content. I watch your videos along to study compound movements and exercises to incorporate into my routine. Thank you, Jonathan. Dual fitness. Can peak strength be used as a coach rather than an athlete? 7-day, and it's brilliant. Would love something for my athletes. So what you can do there, dual fitness, is I would get peak strength, and you can put in like the workout that you want to do or the athlete that you have. And the one thing that you could do is use that for guiding your athlete through a workout. So like as a personal trainer, if you've got an athlete who, let's pretend, is a football player, you can use that as a guideline. And the best part about it is you saw those badges is how well it tracks total tonnage. And then you can sort of monitor on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. When this athlete has this much tonnage based off of these lifts, this is how they're responding. And you can, I think that's probably the best way is to use it as a coach. I think one, it's phenomenal. Obviously, when you're training, you need everybody who's an athlete needs a program to follow that's coordinated with some type of high level thought process if we want to become champions. And that's the big thing here is that, dude, we don't want just a workout that you guys are going to go through the motions. We want a workout to create champions. Everything that we are doing is to make you guys the best versions of yourself possible. We want you to be someone who comes in and you enter into peak strength. And when your career's over, you can look back and you're at the world championships. You're an NCAA All-American. You're someone who's achieved the most out of your body that you can get. And I think that you can definitely do that as a coach. So just keep that stuff in mind, because it's a lot of athletes will spend a lot of time of their career going to the gym without having like a real pointed, focused training session. So they might spend 2 to 3 years of their training life just sort of meandering through the gym. And even coaches do that. Coaches might do that too, is where they sort of just throw stuff at the wall for their athletes. Whereas that's a big aspect with peak strength is it's like, dude, this is built, everything is built from my head. Literally everything's built from my head, and then the decision trees off of that, and how we have exercise replacements. And that's also stuff that we're just trying to continuously zero in on. So Ruari is asking, he struggles with the deep squat. He or she struggles with the deep squat and the snatch. Any tips on improving your mobility? So typically that's going to be ankles first. Any advice for winning the Lithuanian under-18 championship this weekend? Just compete hard. Have those good cues and compete hard. So going back to Ruari, ankle mobility, shoulder mobility, thoracic extension, okay? Do power snatches. Let's say a high hang snatch I think is the best exercise to force athletes to learn how to like turn over and get deep. So a high hang snatch. You can do snatch balances. You could do power snatch into an overhead squat and focus on pausing in the hole. And let's say you do this. Let's say you do 3 sets of 2 power snatches, 2 overhead squats, and then you go into 4 sets of 2 high hang snatches. And that's going to help you get comfortable down in the hole, hopefully. How many accessories should I do if I only train for strength, and how long should I rest for? If you're only training for strength, nothing else, you could do 2 accessories, and you could take up to 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes rest. Creatine for kids under age 13, yay or nay? Consult your doctor. I believe based off of literature, it's perfectly safe, but you should be consulting your doctor. In fact, I would argue that based off of literature that I've seen, creatine for younger kids is extraordinarily healthy. and great for brain development. But again, consult your doctor. Alfonso. So I have no need in the gym in 20 years. He works 50 hours a week as an electrician. He's got a back injury. What can he do? Alfonso, this is what I would do. I would start with walking and doing push-ups at an elevated position. So your feet are on the ground and you can do push-ups on a bench, okay? And then you can do squats to that bench for sets of 30 or 20, okay? And then let's say one more thing. I would also just pick up like bands. You could buy our Power Elastic bands and you could just do banded curls, banded presses, anything to get your heart rate elevated, and just set the goal. I want to work out 3 times this week for 45 minutes. So he's working as an electrician. He doesn't have a lot of time to train, and he hasn't worked out in a while. Set that goal 3 times a week for 45 minutes and try to hold yourself accountable to hit that, and that's going to help you get back into shape. Harjeet Gill, what's the best rep range for explosive power as a kickboxer? Another kickboxer question. That's great. 6 doubles on power snatches. Single leg squats, I'd go 5 sets of 3 each side unbroken. That's how I would hit. What are the 3 best supplements? Ooh, depends on your goals, really. Whey protein, creatine, and caffeine, though. Caffeine's a supplement. Your body produces creatine naturally, but supplementing when not getting enough from processing protein is something everyone can benefit from. That's what Joseph has to say. Let's get 5 more questions. 5 more questions here. What should I do? Okay, we got that. Any advice for struggle with the DI? Okay, GQ Sam 1. If you have a weekend long flag football tournament, probably playing around 7 to 10 flag football games, how would you modify your workout program in peak strength? I would cut down the sets by probably 3 sets. If you've got a long football tournament, flag football, basically think about it, guys. If you're not familiar with flag football, it's very similar to soccer. Okay. And I would try to lift, let's say your tournament starts on a Friday. I would try to lift, the last day would be a Wednesday, and I would do athlete day, take off Thursday, and then you'd have Friday, Saturday to compete. And then start, if you have Sunday off, you could start again on Sunday, or you could start again on Monday. Spencer Arnold via Instagram. What's up, Spencer? Coming in on Instagram. What's the hardest part about coaching at a high level? I think the hardest part coaching at a high level is, I think it comes back to the amount of emotional investment and emotional fatigue. I think that's a lot of the hard part behind coaching, is like managing the planning of training, managing the planning of contributing a large amount of energy to specific individuals, these elite level individuals, and putting that energy into them, and then holding them accountable. But I think it comes back to the energy given out, and I've noticed that can be extremely challenging, especially if you've got multiple different athletes in different sports. It also gets even harder because then you're traveling and you might miss some other issues, and you've got to continue to contribute that energy at a high level to an individual, and you might not even be in their presence, and it's in a different sport that you're at for a competition. So it's like making sure you're managing and balancing your finite amount of energy is really the most important aspect. And then knowing that there's not a lot of, financially, it's not the best decision. It's fun. It's probably one of the most enjoyable parts around coaching, but it's managing that emotional energy on a regular basis is so freaking hard, I think. And I'm sure, Spencer, you would agree with that. I mean, maybe don't agree with that, but I'm sure you can relate to it at least, right? So I think that's a really, really good question around coaching at a high level. Sam Weeks with a question. When you started coaching the throws, weightlifting, what most surprised you? I think what most surprised me was as I started to develop athletes over and over again, and the consistency, I think the most surprising part was seeing things at like the world-class level, like going to Worlds and seeing how things operated. Like I'll share this example for throwing. 2017 Worlds, Alex is warming up. Alex is there. Nick Arrhenius is there. Timmy Nedal was there, but Alex is warming up, and we're throwing, and we're outside the stadium. We're throwing, and we get on the bus to get into the stadium, and Robert Harding's on the bus, and he's an Olympic champion. No, it was Garrett Cantor. Garrett Cantor, who's an Olympic champion, is on the bus, and he says, what did Robert throw? Because Robert was in the qualifying group A, and we were in group B, and he said, what did Robert throw? And to me, I immediately was like, why does Garrett care about what Robert threw? But also, like, they had a big rivalry for quite a while. And then I think somebody in the first session, I want to say Stahl was in the first session, had a huge throw. And I remember there was somebody else in that group that we were in that brought that up, that they had seen that, Stahl had a big throw as well. And so this was for qualifying. And it was just an interesting thing for me, because you have Garrett Cantor, I believe he's a world champion, I know he's an Olympic champion, asking something like that, like, what did Robert throw? And it's like, I was blown away by that, because I didn't think he would care. And I think that as a coach, I would probably prefer my athlete not care. Now, to be an open book, Garrett Cantor may not have cared at all, and he might have been saying that to set up some of the other younger guys who start to worry about other things. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that as you keep rising up, you deal with a lot of the same level issues. Like, people wonder what that guy's going to throw, wonder what that guy's going to throw. Hey, Dan, this is going wrong right now. How do I fix this? And it's a lot of the same stuff that you've got to troubleshoot through and prepare for over and over and over again. And it helps you create all of these fail-proof type things, like if this, then that. And if you think back to the discussion we had around Sam's preparation in the Olympics, Alex's preparation in the Olympics, CC's preparation, Jason Van Rooyen's, Timmy Nedal, it all is similar stuff. And you're just setting them up as a coach then once you get to that level. And now that we're here, even with our kids that are youth athletes or football players, is like, what's your ritual? How do we prepare so that they don't think all those things, or at least we have mechanisms in place to handle those thought processes? And I think that that's the most surprising thing to me. You think naively that stuff doesn't happen at the top level. I mean, dude, you could see it right now in the throwing world. Like, we've got some of the best throwers in the world, and they're like hung up on like really immature things, like literally. It's like, dude, why do you care? Like, you're that good. You were the best ever possibly. Why do you care? Like, you're on a whole nother level. You shouldn't be worried about stuff like that. But I think that's just stuff that, like, it's human nature. And we just got to be, as coaches, try to help our athletes navigate through those weird emotions. We all have those emotions. We all have those feelings, and it's hard to deal with it. Right. So I think that it actually goes back to Spencer's question, is like, there's emotional maturity or immaturity in athletes, and there's emotional maturity or immaturity in coaching. And we've got to sort of like navigate through all these areas. And that's where like the programming stuff comes into play too, guys. Is like, if we have all this stuff laid out in the program, we should also have all this stuff laid out for emotions. We should have all this stuff laid out for mobility, and everything's like this. Try to be as fail-proof as possible. Yeah, Sam, you got it. You got that, Sam. Big fan. Thanks for the advice. Your channel's like a gold man for athletes. I appreciate that quite a bit. I've got about 2 minutes left, and then I'm going to go head over to Coach the Discus. I think that's the other thing too, guys. I just wanted to chime in here before we close this out. If you have any more questions, put them in there. I'll try and pick one more. Is that, we're coaching every day here. I'm coaching every single day for 4 to 6 hours a day. We're doing everything that we can to continuously develop this entire training system at Garage Strength and Throws University, and what we're doing with Garage Strength weightlifting and all the football players, wrestlers, swimmers, everybody, and how we're trying to work through this so that we can constantly refine and zero in on what's the best system for you guys, how you can have easy access to it, how you can learn, how we can educate coaches, and really just completely create and continuously provide a value to you guys as athletes or coaches that you can build upon yourselves and implement so that you guys can become freaks, or you guys can train those freaks, those soldiers that we talked about. And so just remember that if you comment on our YouTube live, you will get access. You will get the potential. You got to comment on our YouTube, or you got to comment on our YouTube videos. Make sure all of your notifications are on. And Drip 369 won this week's t-shirt giveaway. And if you guys put really good questions on those long form videos, or even on our Instagram comments, we're going to pull 3 to 4 of them every week. And those are going to be the comments that we use to answer and to start off every week's public live. And don't forget too, we've also got, great question. Do you consider yourself a YouTuber? I'll answer that shortly. We also have that comment just threw me off because now I'm trying to think about, we also have our YouTube private membership. Okay. So every week on a Friday, we do a private live. You can join for $10. Okay. So that's, what is that? $2.50 a month or a week. $2.50 a week. You can join it through the YouTube member channel. And every single week we answer questions. And it's basically like 20 people that are in that YouTube member. And we do a nice presentation and answer some big questions, and also provide like real life scenarios that we're dealing with specific athletes and how we're navigating through those real life scenarios. So we just got a question from Garage Strength, ironically. Do you consider yourself a YouTuber? And I would say I do not consider myself a YouTuber because my main focus is coaching and developing the company. Main focus, coaching. That's all I care about is coaching for the most part. And doing everything I can on the ancillary to develop my coaching. So that might mean the company comes into factor there because we want to build a better facility. We want to have better on-site throwing. We want to have an NFL combine prep site so that I can coach. And so we can continue to develop coaches here, and we can continue to develop the system. YouTube is part of that. YouTube is part of educating you guys. YouTube is part of contributing and learning from you guys as well, and learning through your scenarios so that we can actually try to troubleshoot that stuff in here at our gym. So I would say if YouTube was my primary thing, I would feel like a YouTuber, but I would not call myself a YouTuber. I hope that helps. But I also, at the same time, love YouTube, and I love videos. I love doing videos. They're so fun. They're easily outside of coaching, my second most fun thing to do. So I do love making those videos. If you guys have any videos that you want to see, comment in the live. I'd love to coach more, but unfortunately high schools don't take strength training or sport-specific training as a top of their list, at least not the pay. Yeah, less coaches every day. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to make that cash, but you got to figure that out if you want to do it. That's a big factor, right? All right, so remember, comment on the YouTube video. Drip369, you won this week's t-shirt. You can send us an email, support@garagestrength.com. Until next time, guys, peace.